Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Netters Network Thursday Things. I have a very special guest waiting for us backstage, but before I bring him in, let me introduce to you my co-host. You know him as that guy at the end of the bar, the love of my life, Trevor Jelly. How you doing tonight, sweetie? And what are you sipping on?
You forgot your number one fan. That's also how I'm known.
Well, I hope so after 32 years of marriage.
Absolutely. I mean, it's getting to be like I'm a stalker or something, living in your house.
Yeah, maybe.
Eating your food. Well, okay, I make the food too, so I mean,
yeah, you didn't
at least I contribute. I'm sipping on it. I think it's my last Diet Dr. Pepper.
No, I think you got one more. Let me see. Yep, you got one more.
We got to get out to the store.
Yep.
But I got lemonade.
True.
I got to hydrate throughout the week so I can dehydrate on Friday night.
Which is tomorrow.
Yep.
It's like it's the end of the week already. It's like, for me, this week kind of flew by. But it's like, and I've been so tired, Troy can tell you. Of course, it doesn't help that on most nights we've been going to bed somewhere between 1:30 and 2 in the morning. And I'm up at 7. So it's like, yeah, 5 hours of sleep. No. And naps are not helping. It's like, I can nap. But then it's like, okay, I've napped, so I feel a little bit better. But then when I go back to bed, that night, it's like the nap never happened.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I reset to just being tired. So, yeah, I'm weird that way. Well, then again, I'm weird anyway. Okay, goodness. Let us say hello to the chat. And if you haven't already, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. Thank you all very much. First in tonight, it looks like it was Curtis Selby at 5:45 p.m. He was in ultra early. Hi, Curtis. How you doing, sweetie? And next up was Tim at 6:31. So it's like, all my peeps are coming in early. Then, of course, there's this Enigma guy who was in at 6:36. So I got some eager peoples in. Let's see, Curtis. And the lovely Lady Myst dropping in her hearts and flowers at 8:07. So she was only an hour early. Let's see. We have Connie Cleary. How you doing, sweetie? If I say hello to you twice, well, that's fine. Okay, we have that last call guy. I see this guy in the stream all the time. He's always flirting with me.
Told you, stalker.
Yeah. DJ Play Nice. How you doing, sweetie? People talking amongst themselves. See, he's telling me he loves me. I mean, seriously, this guy's stalking me.
Yep. Weird.
Yeah. But then again, there's that Netters person flirting right back. So.
Yes. Get a room, you two.
Say hello to Curtis. JPRPH1, how you doing, sweetie? So I'm a little tired, so if I sound a little out of it, it's because I am. I'm pretty sure I already said hello to Tim, but I'm going to say hello again. Because he also brings up that the YouTuber Nate, the legendary Tron, passed away. I don't know who this YouTuber is, but my gosh, that's so sad. We've been losing so many YouTubers lately. Some of them for like really bad illnesses that they had that they just couldn't recover from. So my condolences to his family and friends. Apparently Echo Bassett said something about that. Lester San Jose, the Skeptic Tank, just got off an EPN pop to discuss Tron. Huh. Okay, we got Lester, we got last call. Big Al Presents, how you doing, sweetie? Busy review day, Cocaine Werewolf. Oh, gee, where do you find these films? And Alan Romulus, now up. So everyone, make sure later on you go over to Big Al's channel and you check out his 10-word reviews. See, that's one thing I like about these. It's literally a 10-word review. So it's what, like less than a minute of your time to go and listen to the reviews. So you're not listening to some long drawn out thing of what's going on with the film and all this. It's 10 words. It's, like I said, less than a minute of your day. Go check those out. His 10-word reviews are awesome. Osmo. Let's see. I said hello to all those people. Mr. Lundell's Groovy Movies. Greetings and felicitations. Hip hip hurrah. Tally ho. Deleted scenes. Giving his salute. And that's not a one-finger salute either. Don't remember.
Well, a thumb is a finger, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't remember if I said hello to Connie unless I'm a little out of it. So, hello, Connie. H. Boomer, how you doing, sweetie? It's like I don't get to see Boomer a lot in my streams, so it's always nice when he shows up. And I'm scrolling. Evelyn Hampton. Kapla, Admiral.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying not to let my chat jump. Oh, Big Al says, Alien Romulus. My bad. I don't know. The other one might have been just a story about a guy. So I think I've gotten everyone. If I have missed you because chats like to jump, let me know so I can say a proper hello. And if you haven't already, I'd appreciate a thumbs up because, yeah, y'all my peeps. Pinned to the top of the chat, you'll also find a link to my special guest for tonight. And without further ado, let me bring in my special guest. He has a duo personality, Enigma Severus. How you doing tonight, sweetie? And what are you sipping on?
I'm doing pretty good. I had a protein shake a little bit earlier.
Always good.
But now it's just water.
Oh yeah, I didn't say what I'm on. I'm still on my Meyer sparkling water berry flavored until I run out. I've got like one more 12-pack, and then I'll have to go shopping for more.
Obviously, we're at that point.
Yeah, we're at the point where it's like we need to do some shopping. And already we got Curtis going, Enigma! Okay. I like that. It's like the Scream mask. It's like I'm just seeing if there's any questions in here before we get started. So, my usual beginning questions are, you have a YouTube channel.
Yep.
What made you decide to start that channel and pick that name?
Oh, goodness. Okay, so I actually had a YouTube channel a number of years ago when YouTube was just then becoming popular.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And so there was not any special name attached to it. However, during the 2020 emotional roller coaster,
Oh, yeah.
there was a time when, obviously, yes, they had people are hiring, but no, they were not hiring. And so I took it upon myself. Actually, I was doing a doctorate at the time, but I took it upon myself to read all of the Harry Potter books.
Oh, wow.
Which I had never done. So I had never actually read the books. Now, I was a fan of the movies, but I was very late to the party and enjoying the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so Severus was one of my favorite characters. His ability to do both be convincing in the evil realm, but also be very dedicated to the good side of things. And so I was a massive fan of Severus even before he became the principal person in helping Harry with everything. And so I went through the books, all the books within 20 days. Ended
That's
up
some serious reading.
Yeah.
Those are big books. I know, I have them all.
Yeah,
But he had time on his hands.
Yes.
Yeah, I had a lot. So this was over Christmas, and so we're I was at my brother's house. Ended up going and heading. I was headed to his house, and so it was about New Year's that I started. So on like December 31st, I had begun, and then by January 19th, I had finished all of the books. And it was waking up, reading the book, staying up until around midnight, reading the book, physically pulling myself away to actually go and walk, and then come back and reading the book. So, a number of kids or students inside of my school will complain that it's difficult to do their education. I said, look, I understand that position. I really do, because when you are engrossed in the internet, when you're engrossed in YouTube and Netflix, whatever it be, it will take about 2 weeks for your mind to actually adjust to getting out of that normal routine of always being on technology. And so, so I finished the books within that amount of time. And one of the biggest things I loved about the books is that they explain so much more of the story, obviously, than the actual movies.
Well, yeah, because you can only put so much into a film, whereas on the written page you can explain something so much more in so much more detail that you can't translate to the big screen.
No, exactly. And so I loved how J.K. Rowling was able to tie in so many great things. Like, one of my favorite things throughout the books was Rowling used Bellatrix to explain to Harry while they were dueling that Harry needed to mean it if he planned to do an actual curse on someone. And so then we leave that entire book. We go to the last book of Deathly Hallows, and you have more than 200, 400 pages in. We have Harry, who has returned to Hogwarts, and he says, you know what, Bellatrix was right. You need to mean it. And it was just the ability for Rowling to be able to tie all of those details in when they are 1,000 pages apart, so to speak, is for me, I really just love the books. And so,
if I can make a meta comment about that,
yeah,
do you realize that chances are, from her perspective, it's the same kind of a thing? She is talking about characters that are so meaningful and real to her,
right?
That's how she is able to do that. This world is so detailed and so rich because she has spent so much time in it, caring for it. So kind of like casting a curse, right? You got to mean it. Well, I think she really means it when it comes to these characters. Which, look, I mean, some of the best authors. This is why their worlds are so rich. Whether it's her, George Martin, Lord of the Rings. What's his name?
Or Tolkien.
Tolkien, right? Exactly, right. These are people that really, really know their stuff and are keeping notes and so on and so forth. Which I think is also why I and probably most fans are so personally attacked when they see someone else come in and just start writing fan fiction and passing it off as canon for these worlds. It's like, no, you don't get to do that.
Oh, exactly. And so a lot of times I get upset when you go to a bookstore and you're asking, hey, can I get the original? Like, where are the actual original books that these were? I don't want the fan fiction crap that you guys are peddling.
Right.
That does not, that's not actually the real story,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so yeah, with that passion that you have right there, it was January of 2021 that I began another YouTube channel. And I was just so excited about the books, and just, it was the first time I had gone through them all, loved all of the detail, loved everything. And I was just like, I really want to communicate the passion that I think the books really display. And so I decided I'm going to video edit the Harry Potter saga, so to speak.
Wow.
And so that's why I came up with, I didn't come up with it, but Sia is a great musical artist. I love a number of her songs. And so she had a really phenomenal one that I would listen to for the workouts, and it just, I Am Unstoppable Today. Unstoppable was one of her really good songs, and so I was just like, I really want to edit that to Harry Potter. And so I went through all 8 films. I'm sitting there looking for all the scenes that I can, that I think would hit well with the video. And so that's what I first did. Was I decided, you know what, I'm going to video edit the Harry Potter series to Unstoppable with Sia. And so that was the first video that I have on this channel right now. And yeah, it has over like 75,000, 80,000 views or something like that.
Nice.
So
Wow.
I was so excited that but you know, when the first days were that I had video edited the thing, you know, I'm sitting there and I'm watching the video myself on YouTube and I'm like, I have 6 views, you guys. You know, I'm getting really excited.
And
7
speaking
people
of
like my video.
yeah, it's like
Right.
my guest link to his channel is pinned to the top of the chat. We are currently at, let me refresh,
Oh, you're
245 subscribers. Let's
It's
see
okay.
how high we can get him tonight. Now, currently I am showing that there are 20 people in my lively little chat here.
Are all 20 of you currently subscribed to Enigma Severus? If not, go do it. You
This
right
time
will.
I am.
Do it.
My last guess, it's like, I went there, I'm like, okay, come on, we want one more to hit the milestone. And then I'm looking, going, I'm not sub. It had unsubbed me, so I had to resub.
It happens.
But I
It
am subbed
happens.
this time. I just looked.
Well, later on, I'll be able to show different things that I have of C.S. Lewis to make Curtis jealous. So
Cool.
he'll enjoy that. But yeah, so I got the Harry Potter video uploaded, and I was really excited about that. And then, you know, you finish Harry Potter, and you're like, okay, I want to start reading them again. But I was like, what's another good trilogy? And then I was like, you know what? I have not read The Hunger Games at all. And
Huh?
so
Neither have I.
I went and I grabbed The Hunger Games, and I had those shipped to my house. And so I go through The Hunger Games, and I finished those within a week. And so I was like, okay, I can get this done. And so I got those done within 7 days, and I was actually working at this time. So I was a cook, or I was a dishwasher at the time at Chili's, but I already knew how to cook. I was just trying to stall my time before they figured that out. So I went and got The Hunger Games, read all of those, loved the books. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, people in the chat, Gale is not the hero that is demonstrated in the movies whatsoever.
Mm.
The guy is really, really unhinged inside of the books. And I mean, it's understandable, but at the same time, it's like there's a reason that PETA ends up. Oh, did I spoil it for you? That PETA ends up with Katniss, and so.
No, it's like, I haven't seen the movies. I haven't read the books. You're not spoiling anything for me.
But yeah, so I was like, you know what? I really want to edit The Hunger Games now. And so I was like, what do I need to find? And so there was this really good song that they had that had come out for Lara Croft Tomb Raider. It was I'm a Survivor for her trailer. And so I went and grabbed that trailer music and decided to put it to Hunger Games. And then obviously there were a number of people who had already done that, but they didn't. Obviously, I was not a fan of how they had edited their videos, and so I was like, I can make it better, or at least in my opinion, I thought mine would be better. And so I made that video next. And then I was like, okay, what else can I get? And then so one of my favorite books is by Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice.
With
As
zombies?
a guy, yeah, no. Yeah, I haven't even seen that movie. I need to go see that, but
It's actually kind of funny.
Actually, you know what? There's. It's based on a book. You might want to read the book because it obviously,
Is it really?
obviously, it parallels Pride and Prejudice. So it probably reads better. But I enjoyed the movie.
I will have to look it up because I mean this is during the time when the Abe Lincoln came out, when the Three Musketeers came out, and they're
Yeah.
all zombie-like or apocalyptic type films, and it's just like, okay, y'all are just beating a dead horse now.
Right.
So so yeah, Pride and Prejudice, a really phenomenal book, and again, like I said, I had actually made a mention of it to if you have ever gone to Sin's Corner, she gave a review tonight on
Yep.
Alien Romulus, and
Oh,
so.
okay.
And so I was watching that, and she sparked into my mind the example of, you know, young lady authors do a much better job at teasing the story and having different storylines proceed throughout the work. Whereas, again, gentlemen, this is just how we operate. We have a one track mind of this is point A, this is point B. I'm not going to have more than 2 to 3 storylines happening at once, you know. And so in Pride and Prejudice, you see this amazing amount of detail and storyline, which I loved. And so I decided I would video edit that. And so I went and got the Keira Knightley version, which is apparently the worst version in a number of fans' opinions. But I think Keira Knightley encapsulates the character of Elizabeth really well. And so obviously the storyline may not be as direct and accurate, but the character of Elizabeth is portrayed by Keira Knightley really well. And so yeah, and that's ultimately how I began rolling with this channel. Is I decided, you know, what else can I video edit? What else am I passionate about? What else do I believe that people should take interest in or have a passion for, you know? So obviously you see a number of love themes that I put through some of the original videos that I have, like The Mask of Zorro. I have that in there.
That's a good one. I like that one.
I loved that movie. I felt I was not going to use the second or the third one, just the original with Anthony Hopkins.
I felt like that movie was the spirit that I wanted when I had seen the Legend of the Lone Ranger. That's an older one. That's going way back there, folks. And I had hoped that would have been, that kind of bring the character, up to date for modern audiences without, taking it out of its time. Right. Being true to everything that it was, giving it a good reboot, so to speak. Yeah. And Mask of Zorro absolutely was that. And honestly, Legend of the Lone Ranger tried to be that, but really didn't stick the landing. And let's face it, so many reboots since then have absolutely not.
There's a Monday night double feature for you, honey. Zorro, and then Zorro the Gay Blade.
The Gay Blade is
I wonder hilarious. How many people remember that one. Yeah.
That's a hilarious version. My father and I loved that version. We would quote it all the time. The ships in the field, the little bababas, and he would go off on these weird running and jumping and walking in place, running and jumping. We would quote that movie on various occasions just for the fun of it.
It's like some movies are just a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. So yeah, again, I grew up watching movies with my father, and so he was a very passionate guy. He was the again, we don't need to label everybody the same way, but my dad would blatantly admit he was the nerd. He was in band. He had glasses. He was a tech guy. He loved Star Trek. He was a big time Trekkie. Galaxy Quest. When we introduced him to Galaxy Quest, he fell on the floor loud. He was like, "This is it." He goes, "This is us."
That is a great film. I've got one line. It's stupid, but I'm gonna say it.
I do feel that Galaxy Quest was very much the meta Star Trek film that all Star Trek fans could relate to.
We can show myself in the video, feature. I guess.
Galaxy Quest and the one with Robert Preston is the alien and the kid with the video game.
Last Starfighter.
Last Starfighter. There you go.
We
both
actually,
nice parody ones.
Sin's group just watched The Last Starfighter, and I love that movie too. I was telling, and my dad introduced me to all these movies, and so I can show myself, I guess, in the video.
Yeah, if you want to. We're not gonna, There you go. There is.
Look at that.
There is Enigma Severus. That's what he looks like when he's not wearing Joker makeup with long hair.
Yeah, normal.
There you go.
So I actually, I rearranged the room a little bit to make sure that it's at least presentable. So.
There you go.
But yeah, we. So my father introduced me to a lot of films, and like I was telling, I was actually telling my students the other day. I said, the first film I can remember being a fan of is the Star Wars films. And so I can distinctly remember we had been traveling, going to some hotel, and
Mhm.
we had these joining rooms. And so in the corner were TVs, and I could see and I recognized the end credits to the movie of Star Wars. And I was like, Star Wars, and
Yeah.
obviously the movie's over, but I'm not realizing that. I'm like, I want to watch Star Wars, but it was on TV. And so then the next one was, I can distinctly remember the Indiana Jones
Yeah.
saga. This was when, do you remember when McDonald's was actually giving out VHS tapes of McDonald's?
I do. That's when
Of
That's how I
the
got my first VHS set
Indiana
of
Jones, yeah.
Indiana Jones. Yeah.
Oh, I
So I
didn't know
was,
about that one.
yeah, they were giving them. If you made some sort of specific purchase, you could legitimately get the Indiana Jones
Yep.
on VHS from McDonald's.
What do you know about that?
Yep.
And so my mom came back with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade at one point, and I was just like, yes, we're going to be able to watch this.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I can remember we went through the Terminators. My dad told me about the Terminators. He would tell me the storylines. He was patient enough to explain things. Star Wars, again, was one of the original things that I would always watch. He had somehow, I don't know how he did this during this time, he had somehow recorded Star Wars: A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi all on the same VHS tape when you were able to record it. And
Yeah.
he had them all three lined up. It wasn't an original or anything. I actually
Right.
have the VHSs back
Sure.
here.
Oh, I know exactly how I did that. On VHS tapes, you can do
You could
like
do
super
multiples,
quality, which was making your VHS tape just 2 hours long, so it was like super high quality.
or you could slow it down
Yeah.
and get
Like
6
8 hours worth, 6 to 8 hours.
6 to 8 hours on a tape. But it was really grainy then. So that was.
I mean, we obviously there was no HD during that time, so when we
Right.
watched it, we couldn't tell the difference,
Right. Exactly.
And
And
so
I remember the first time this when VHS first came out. See, this is the kind of thing that Boomer and I like to talk about on Sundays when we do our good old days, because I don't think the younger audience is even really aware. When VHS first came out, most people could not afford a VHS player. In
Yeah. Right.
fact, you could go and rent, you'd go to the video store, like your Blockbuster or whatever, but you wouldn't just be renting the video, you would rent the machine to take home with you too. That's what you would do, because
Yeah.
most people didn't own one.
that's
And you
true. Blockbuster had those.
exactly, and most people couldn't afford the movie if they wanted to buy it outright. It was like $300 for a VHS, and that's not adjusted for inflation. That's literally what it was in 1880s, 1980s money. Yeah. Oh, it was even more expensive in the 1880s. No. But seriously, and so what a lot of people did was those that could, obviously your first investment was to buy that VHS machine, right? And then people would record things off of television. So if there was a special showing of The Wizard of Oz, for example, which they often did around the holidays, you would set it to be the highest quality recording you could, and then you would record, but you would sit by that machine, because when a commercial was starting, you'd hit pause. And then at the end of the commercials, you'd immediately hit pause again so that you could edit out all the commercials too.
Yeah, no, I honestly, the amount of detail that my dad knew about doing those things. And so, yeah, I can remember way back when Tombstone had just come out, and we would go, obviously you'd go to Blockbuster. And do you ever remember Hollywood Video?
I remember Hollywood Video. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So Hollywood Video was so popular because you'd be able to keep the video for 5 days and not 3 days. And so you have this, I have this memory again of us when Tombstone had come out. We were so interested in Tombstone. You would go to Blockbuster, you would sit there and you would wait, and you would ask the person working the desk, and you'd say, is any of the Tombstones due back tonight? And so you'd have to wait around for somebody to return the movie so that you could rent the movie so that you could take it. And I mean, it was just, this was what we would do. And so I can remember I was 9 years old, I got up at 6 a.m. in the morning on a weekend on a Saturday, and I had convinced my dad to rent all three Aliens, and Alien 3, the 1997 one, I guess.
Yeah.
The one that she's in some space prison, and she has the being inside her, or whatever it be. And so
Yeah.
that, obviously my dad already knew. He's like, this didn't bode well, but Aliens, the second one, was one of the more enjoyable ones because they had a lot more action, and obviously, and the original Alien. But yeah, I can remember us doing all of these, doing the Halloweens, doing
Mm-hmm.
a number of things. And so yeah, and this is where I get the passion from. Now the trailers. The
Mm-hmm.
reason that I like doing the trailers like they are is
Mm-hmm.
because of, if you look at the VHS tape of the Three Musketeers from '93 that Disney made with Kiefer Sutherland,
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Sheen, they have a music video before the movie takes place with
Oh.
Bryan Adams and
Mm-hmm.
Sting
Yeah.
and who is the English singer that Rod Stewart. There you go.
Yeah.
And so you have all three at the same time singing "All for One" and "All for Love," or "One for All" and "All for Love," or something like that. And so the way that they did that music video, we were really excited about. It was one of those that hit home. And then you have Bryan Adams that's singing to Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves from '91 with Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And that video was really good. And you see these small snippets
Yeah.
of the movie inside of the song, and
Right.
you fall in love with the movie because of how the song hits with the movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so when you see Kevin Costner and he's launching this arrow and the explosion is behind him, and you see this slow mo, and you're just like, this is the scene,
Yeah.
this is the shot,
Yeah.
And so with that passion is why I like to do the trailers, is because you want someone to see that impactful passion that's there. And so I love symphony music that goes with the movie. I love how to try and inspire somebody to actually want to watch the movie again.
Lester San Jose likes a painted black with the Fifth Element.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. That.
I
Let me
sorry,
know,
it's
I'm
like I
sorry.
totally get that because there are times when I will watch a preview, or I'm sorry, well, yeah, it's like back in the day they don't really do it so very well these days, but they would do the song that was going to be in the film,
Yeah.
and they would show scenes from the film to capture your interest.
That-
So like the Karate Kid is a good one.
Yep.
Was it's Brian Adams again.
No. It was
no.
Peter
Peter
Cetera,
Cetera.
Glory
Yeah.
of Love for
And-
the yeah.
Just showing these little snippets, it's like, okay, I want to see this
Second
movie now
movie.
because I want to see this love story.
Yep.
But it's like, but then I see like, what was it? I saw a preview for one movie with oh shoot, can't remember his name now. I just remember him as the stinky guy.
Oh, Brad Pitt.
Yeah, Brad Pitt. Troy knows exactly what I'm talking about when I say stinky guy. It was some movie with Brad Pitt out in the mountains doing something. I watched this preview. I'm like, I have no idea what this movie's about.
7 days in Tibet. Some however many days in Tibet.
Yeah, it's like, because then you have to fill out a survey afterwards of what you thought of it. I'm like, I don't know what this movie's about. This guy's in the mountains.
Discussing with the teenage kid.
Well, actually, our show was mostly him in, with mountains in the background, a lot of snow, him talking to a couple of guys. I'm like, this tells me nothing. I know nothing about what this movie is about based on these scenes.
Right.
Is this seriously what you're going to be showing people to promote this movie? Because no. And I never did see it because it's like no interest. But yeah, I totally get it when you're saying, the music videos would really make you want to see the movie because it would hit those scenes and it would be just the right scene showing at the right point in the song. That was always amazing.
Boomer and I did a whole segment on like now I can't remember if it was on Friday things or if it was good old days on Geeky Geezers, but we were talking specifically about that cross pollination of movies and songs that were so big especially in the 80s, where you had a whole soundtrack of pop songs from your favorite, summer hits, and
Right.
all the videos, which were big. MTV was coming into its own back then,
And VH1.
and VH1, and they were, like I said, you'd see these songs, you'd see the movies. Okay, now I got to go see the movie, or the other way around. And we've lost that. The
Right.
entertainment industry has lost that. This is why separately, movies and music are both suffering because of this.
Exactly. I actually want to do a check-in. I just checked our guest channel, and we've gotten 5 new subs. So, do you think we can do a little bit better? Because I know
Wow.
we can.
Yeah, well, that's the first milestone, right? You got
Yeah.
your first 5, right?
Because,
Yeah.
well, my chat peeps are just amazing in Osmo, and yeah, it's like I know that they love to encourage my guests. They encourage one another, and you are often a member in our chat. So
Yes, exactly.
it's like, can we get another 5 in there? I've got 20
You
people
guys
watching
have seen
right
him.
now.
You've chatted with him. Now support him.
Yes,
Well,
exactly. Like
like I
you do with
said-
all the guests that come on to Thursday Things.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2 people just dropped out. Now I only have 18 people watching.
Well,
But-
they may have stepped away instead
We
of
see what he is. We're
ins-
done.
instead of right clicking. They may have left to go
Swiped it.
subscribe, and then they'll come back.
Yeah, because I say that. Oh, 251. Okay.
But no, we
Good. 4 more. Let's make the next milestone.
Right.
so yeah, as you guys have shared, just that's what I honestly feel that we've lost through movies, through a lot of things, is that you're not telling a good story that is enjoyable for the people. And so when you have Tom Cruise that comes out from Maverick 2 and he says, we made this for you because we want you all to be honored. And it's like, thank you. We're the ones that are coming out here, and we would like to enjoy a great
Yeah.
story. I mean, what do you think people were doing before movies were made? They would go to plays, they would go to live action plays.
Yeah, exactly.
And so they would want that entertainment, and they would critique it. And so this is why, this reading through C.S. Lewis's letters, he's critiquing these plays that he's going to, and he's like, I really don't think it was worth the money. And
Yeah.
it's so funny. It's like, yeah, now we do this with theaters. And so yeah, when I'm making so like one of the ones that I did was Die Hard, and I just love the music that I put it with, even though it starts out slow, and I'm like, please don't lose interest. A great story I had was for the Pirates of the Caribbean. So I make the Pirates of the Caribbean video, and it was mainly because of the Johnny Depp situation that was happening then.
Right.
And so I was like, you know what, just make a good video for him. And so I found this song that was just really hit home with how I believe the music would bring passion into it. And so I put it on my channel, and then my mom somehow had found it. Maybe I did share it. I did share it with her, because there's no way she would be on YouTube. So I shared it with her, and she goes, I sent it to your older sister. And so, I text my older sister and ask her, hey, how did you like the video? And she goes, I really wanted to go and watch the entire trilogy after I watched that. And I was like, that's what I want,
Yeah.
I want somebody to truly, genuinely desire to see the passion that is there in the story, to see the detail that's pressed there. And so, with Boy Kills World, I honestly really love how the story is told, not because of the goofy, crazy action that's in there. That's hilarious. It's over the top. We know that's over the top. However, the fact that this young boy is going through, and we see it from a psychological point of view, and we are seeing the representation of this young man's sanity trying to remain intact. And you can compare this with Star Wars and with Anakin, and maybe the battle that Anakin fought through all of these movies of keeping his sanity intact and his purpose for what he was doing. Anakin did what he was doing out of the love for resurrecting his mother, bringing his mother back. having that completion that he was hunting for. And so his entire motivation had everything to do with a personal love where, these stories that we see, you can pick on any of them. They don't give you a genuine care for the character. They really
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
And so
before you go off on that side tangent there, Netter, that
she's
what you just you just made me think of this too. Your namesake, Severus Snape. We started the show talking a little bit about Harry Potter.
right.
Same thing. You talked about how well he kind of walked in both worlds, right? Where he was so trusted, if that's a word you can apply, in the dark realm, right? But he was clearly an agent, on like a double agent on the good side. But what was it that anchored him? It was his love for Lily, right?
Right.
And it was he I mean, I've seen videos where people are ripping on him. He's the Stan, he's the whatever. But it's like, it didn't matter. He loved Lily, and he was going to do anything he could. He couldn't do anything more for Lily other than take care of her son. So he was going to do that.
Okay. Because this has been a debate.
Side tangent.
Yeah, side tangent. People, Big Al has a big contention on this too.
Yeah.
Says, Die Hard, Christmas movie or not a Christmas movie? According to our guest, Christmas movie all the way.
Yeah,
There you go.
Movie. It's in there. Everything is in there. The jingle, the ho ho ho, everything. We know, and I get it. We relate the Christmas movies with love and with things like that. Now, a really cool thing I was sharing with Curtis the other day was, Lewis had a massive comment about Christmas and the representation of it. And I mean, if y'all would care, I could also segue into annoying Curtis a little bit, because
Curtis deserves to be a little bit annoyed. Go ahead.
This is a book, Undisputations. Is actually titled God in the Dock, is what it's titled. And so this is actually first printing, I think, of it for God in the Dock. It's titled differently. This is actually a book that was done before Lewis ever did the Chronicles of Narnia, and it's interviewing him.
Oh.
So you get an experience of Lewis before he ever becomes the Narnia hero that he is later on.
Oh.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things that, well, Boomer and I, but a lot of us talk about is this concept of the death of the author, right?
Right.
In the modern day, bad writers have a tendency to come out on social media and say, well, when I wrote this book or I did this movie, I intended this, and this was in the back of my mind. I don't care. If you didn't get it into your story, you failed. If you died the day after it released, no one would be able to know that. And that's a sign of a good writer. But at the same time, I do feel like there is something to be said for, if you are a fan of an author, and by author I mean writer in general, whether it's a book writer or screen or whatever, looking at all of their body of work, seeing common themes repeated, and then realizing when you see them, oh, this is like that other thing he did. I can draw a correlation and make an extrapolation based on that. That's one of the things that we're doing on with deleted scenes over on Live from Sparkwood and 21 on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Right now we're just focused on Twin Peaks, but we're going to start looking at some of David Lynch's other works, seeing some of those common themes and going, okay, if you didn't understand what those electrical, illusions were in Twin Peaks, when you see them in other things too, what are the commonalities? So what is he probably alluding to with that,
Well, I mean, you just sparked in my mind about the Hunger Games. One of the telltales that I love about authors is when they can communicate something to you. They don't tell you specific clues inside of their book. As an example, you get Susan Collins, who is doing Hunger Games, and one of the biggest things that Katniss resents about her mother in the very first book is the fact that her mother almost abandoned her family. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she just would not get out of bed. She would not do things like her entire world. Her mother's entire world had crashed, and Katniss could not fathom how she gave up like that. And so then
Yeah.
you get to the second book, and in the second book, Katniss has found out that Peeta has been taken captive, and she blatantly says, "It doesn't matter whether I'm alive or I'm dead. I just give up. I don't care." And it was basically, you have just mirrored your mother entirely
Mm-hmm.
about losing her husband. And it's amazing that Collins does not blatantly outright state that.
Right.
She allows her readers to, catch that. And so when you're talking about good writers and not good writers, there are those writers that are trying to make that effort and they can't.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you got,
Exactly.
and so, but yeah, I really wanted to do this one real quick because
Sure.
Curtis is going to hate it.
Uh
This is the 1947
huh.
C.S. Lewis cover of Time magazine.
I noticed you got it in a slipcase.
Oh yeah, well, the thing is that I actually have two of them.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me
So
get
I have
you
to.
in solo layout. Okay.
There you go.
thank
Yeah. What's the advert on the back?
The advertisement, let's see here. It is cigarettes.
Of course. Yeah.
Get the cigarettes.
But I love those classic
Oh,
ads.
Chesterfields.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then there's the original book I have of Miracles. The reason this one is interesting to me is, at least, Miracles, the version that you have now, is actually a modified version that Lewis rewrote, because somebody had made mention, her name is Jean Anscombe, made mention that a way in which he had said something in the book did not entirely prove the point he was making in chapter 3. And so with that, Lewis rewrote chapter 3 and added on to it. But this is the original without all of the additions in chapter 3. So yeah, those type things. I collect a ton of Lewis stuff just because I love the author, and a lot of times people can't pick up.
Yeah.
Like, if you read Narnia, a lot of people don't like Narnia because they're not able to pick up all of the other book references that he's making to everything
Yeah.
else. So like when we watch Deadpool Wolverine, have y'all seen that?
Haven't seen it yet, but I know of a lot of the Easter eggs and stuff that are in it.
I can't show you. I actually have a snippet. I showed Curtis, but I have a snippet to the video that I'm editing right now, and it's gonna be a minute. But when you look at Deadpool Wolverine, when you look at Deadpool at all, he makes so many references to so many different. You really have to pay attention and catch them all.
Sometimes he it's so dense that if you're not really paying attention, quick, it's already gone, and it's like, hey, did he just reference such and such?
Yeah. And so with that,
Speaking of
that's what Lewis is
referencing,
doing.
we are at 251. Can we get 4 more subs for our guests? Let's hit that next milestone. I know some of you aren't sub. Thank you, sweeties.
And so but anyway, the whole point of making the channel, making the trailers is to honestly, movies that I enjoyed, movies that I love, try and inspire others to actually love them and enjoy them like I have. One of my students actually inspired me to watch the Wonder Womans, which I did not care to watch, and
the movies, you mean the Gal Gadot
Wonder Woman,
ones?
the recent ones with Gal Gadot, and so I didn't care to really watch them. I wasn't massively interested in them. My dad had watched them. He said, they're okay. They're not bad. They're kind of what you estimate them to be. And I was like, oh, okay. And so so one of my students comes up to me, and I am actually teaching her video editing. We're putting on like this extra after school program of video editing and teaching them how to film things and stuff. And so the first thing I teach them how to do is video edit a movie, because the filming is done for you. Now you need to know how to put it with music to where you know what you like, you know what hits good, you know what inspires. And so now this year they're going to film and create their own video with their own film. And so the student inspired me to watch it, and so I decided, you know what, there's these things in here that I really love about the movie, and so I highlight those in the video that I make. And so yeah, those type things. The Magnificent Seven, love that one, the newest one. It's just the passion that I have for the movies, the storytelling, the string that you can see throughout all of the stories on the justice of it coming. And so modern writers don't have.
Yeah, Geek Flag Grenade said modern writers don't have anything to say; they're just checking boxes.
Well, I could tell
We'll
you
make
about my
sure
life
that
story.
their story represents their ideology, and they don't care if we like it. If we don't, where's the problem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, here's, we've been saying that for a while, but there's a nuance there that I think I want to address. We know, as consumers of our favorite stories, and as writers of stories, we know this, that you really can influence society through the messages that you put out. And I understand these ideologues wanting to do that. The problem is they are so ham-fisted about it that they are not succeeding in having an impact. They're actually having the opposite impact that they intend to have. They're pushing people away from their message.
So, yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
As Miss Netter and I were talking, I am trying to write a fictional story that does deal with this. Now, there was a conversation that one of the gentlemen were having towards Atlantis, and I was wanting to do a story with that. I thought it would be a fun fictional story on Atlantis having the capabilities of teleportation or being able to go into various multiverses.
Uh-huh.
oh wow,
And
Cool.
so when we look inside of historical evidences, a lot of people are saying, well, Atlantis is up here above England. Atlantis is off the coast of Spain. Atlantis is towards the Caribbean, south of Florida. Atlantis is over towards, through Mexico or Peru or different locations. Now, I had been through a lot of South America, but one of the big things I was wanting to do is say, what if it was all actually connected? Because we look at when it came from Plato, and Plato discusses how it was founded
Right.
on the
I was
ocean.
thinking the same thing, yeah.
And so if it's founded on the ocean, what if all of these locations were actually outposts? And you're
Exactly.
asking, well, how are we traveling through them? And I was like, wouldn't it be cool, considering that the Bermuda Triangle seems to be a place where things disappear, that they are like, it's like a flickering of a teleportation device that has been left,
Yeah.
something of that nature. And so I was like, that would be a really fun story to tell. The issue is you need to make sure that there's a good hero with it. There's a purpose behind it. So the other one I was making was based off of the Hunger Games, and it deals with the transitioning that we're having right now, where eventually there will be. Personally, I believe. Again, this is fictional. Please don't take it and be like, you know what Enigma said? No, that's not what I did. I did not say that. Fictional story-wise, I believe eventually it will be prohibited to have children without approval. And so what I call the title of it or whatnot is The Undesirables. And so what it is slaves who are servants to the elites that have been born out of approved marriage. So these were not approved marriages. That means these are not approved kids. So now you are slaves because you are an undesirable, or a unsanctioned was another idea I had. And so with that, this one young man ends up leading a rebellion through battle like the Gladiator or something of that nature. And so there are more details to the story on how that would operate. But for me personally, it's an entertaining thing at this time, and hopefully I will be able to be complete with it in the year that's coming up. But when you have school and things change on a dime, a lot
Yeah.
of times your little side projects are like, okay, I'm going to have to put this to the side for a minute. And so this summer has been a time of just trying to branch out and doing movie reviews, trying to put my opinion out there, even though it's like, okay, well, this is my opinion. That doesn't necessarily mean that the movie is as I'm saying that it is. That's why I like to do a breakdown of it, of things that I see. Um, but I still argue that Twister sucks. So it was not a good movie. It was not, I did not like that movie. It was like
Oh,
there
Twister?
was yeah the no the second the Twisters that just came out.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. I
Well,
will not
I won't
probably
spoil it
see
for
it
you.
because I don't want the first room to be moved by an abomination
It's
following it.
it's just there's no in-depth story. You can I literally could go and I could show or mirror which scenes they take from what. I tried to do a short review, but again I become wordy and I start talking because again I'm a teacher, so you have to improvise off the cuff
Yeah.
sometimes with the students, so your brain has to go really quick to be like, okay, this is what we're doing today and we're going to have to
Hmm.
adjust everything. And so yeah, then I do show my kids some of the videos, but obviously it has to be with kid gloves on. That you can't. That could be a problem. They're like, we need to see you in our office. Did you show the Pirates of the Caribbean video? What? It's a good video. Not like the editing. What? But no, the kids respond well to them. We actually use movies to get them to communicate with each other on. We used Tom Holland one time as a lesson on how to handle hard situations, things like that. So it all just depends on what's going.
Okay, so you had mentioned you're writing the story. Do you have a approximate
ETA.
date? Yeah,
Yeah.
ETA when it'll be done.
I would say summer of 2025.
Okay,
Cool.
and then do you think you're going to self-publish or you're going to send it out to publication companies to try and publish it for you?
I'm going to follow in the footsteps of J.K. Rowling, and I will walk to every single no. Yeah, almost like the
And you're doing it on a typewriter, right?
yeah,
So
yeah. I'm using pen and pen. I actually like writing with pen and paper. I like
I
composition
get you.
notebooks. I
Yeah.
like those. I don't like the computer when I'm writing actual stories. But yeah, I'm most likely going to go to an actual publisher. People can't be choosy a lot of times, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, who even knows who Gregory Bless is, and he's or
Yeah.
Jeffrey Bless is, and he's the one that published Lewis, and
Yeah.
so a lot of times I don't think it's so much the publisher as it is the story that is being
Agreed.
told. And
I
so
absolutely agree. And I just, you know, I'll get more into this when I do my authors panel, but my feeling is that these publishing houses are not doing what they are specifically intended to be doing, and that's promoting the book,
yeah,
marketing it. And you end up having to market it yourself anyway.
hmm
So why not just self-publish? Because nowadays with social media and stuff, you have access to your readers.
and for me personally, I don't. I'm sorry, I'm just firmly a believer. I don't like to self promote. I really
Mhm.
don't. For me personally, I feel like it's I don't know. It's like you've thrown yourself down to selling yourself, and I don't know. That just feels dirty to me. You know, I don't like that. Obviously, presenting a resume, sending the information of the things that you've done, yeah.
Yeah.
But when they say, "So, are you good at being a teacher?" Well, honestly, yeah. I've told people I've told parents, I've told kids. I said the reason that people do not know how to speak Spanish, or the reason that people have such a hard time speaking Spanish or learning Spanish is because the teacher sucks. I'm sorry that you just don't know what you're doing. And so, me personally, I learned Spanish at 18.
Uh-huh.
It took me about 6 months to learn Spanish. And had I had specific lessons or had I specific wordings that were there, I think I might have been able to pick it up a little bit quicker. Um, so it ultimately has nothing to do with the person. It has to do with how that person is being taught. And so a lot of times, yeah, I've thought of putting that on my channel, but then that would be a mixed message. Like, I'm teaching you Spanish, but watch this trailer too.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe come up with a secondary channel and do that. But um, yeah, it depends. There's a lot to that. But yeah, there's lots of those things. Love the country of England. Very fun country. Very awesome history.
Yeah, it was a great country. Too bad it doesn't exist anymore.
Love South American culture. Very fun to be through. Once you're in South America, it's a lot easier to travel through. But getting down there is the fun part. Sashi, good friend.
Yeah, it's like I've been saying hello to everybody in the chat, just do my regular hi sweeties, but I haven't wanted to interrupt the flow of the conversation to say hi to everyone as they're coming in.
Yeah.
So if I have missed you, please let me know, because I am trying to make sure that I do my regular hi sweeties in there.
Yeah, we were just in chat. I was. This is funny because we're actually sitting here talking to Enigma Severus, and yet we're also chatting to each other in the chat. He was saying, I'm going to have to come back and read the chats later because I can't keep up. I'm like, it is hard to have a conversation and follow the chat. So I hope you guys understand.
And on the chat, I always want to give you guys ideas as you're talking, and then I'm like, I'm probably not going to hit it at this time. You got to pace yourself.
And of course, my Lily chat wants to give me. We're still at 251. Could I please get 4 more subs for our lovely guest? It's like okay. I know there's got to be a couple of you that aren't subbed yet, so I'm just trying to hit milestones. You know me. I like those nice even numbers, so to speak. Those milestones. So 5s, 10s, and all that.
One of my coworkers would love you. She's the math teacher. She's really awesome person. I think I've met her husband a couple times, but yeah, her kids at the school, they're fun. But yeah, she's very passionate about math. And so when we were in the class on like the first day, she was like, hey, can you watch the kids? I need to go print these copies. And I was like, that's fine. So I convinced the class to tell her that 2 + 2 = 5. So anytime I go into that class period now, 2 + 2 does equal 5 when I'm there.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Just to bug her. She gives this exasperated face, this I cannot believe you convinced the kids to but kids love doing that thing to annoy and bond with the people that are teaching them. I mean,
a good teacher will do things like that too, where they will tell the class something that is clearly and demonstrably wrong, but they will do it in a clever way so that they can show the proof, and everyone will be sitting there going, no, wait, that can't be.
Right.
And then the teacher just drops it and says, well, see if you can figure out where the error is then. And then go on to the lesson, whatever the lesson is.
Yeah. Like, I had one teacher, I want to say it was in, 4th or 5th grade, who thought they were being clever. They wanted time to be able to, grade papers and stuff, so they figured they would give us an assignment while we're in class. They're like, I want you to add up the numbers 1 through 100. Figuring that would take us a while to do, 1 + 2, then plus 3 plus 4, and one kid just after not even a minute raised his hands and said, okay, I'm done. She's like, wait, what do you mean you're done? He goes, yeah, the answer is 5,050. And she just looked at him like, how the heck did you figure that out? And he explained how he did it, and sure enough, that was the answer. And she's like, dang, I gotta come up with something else to keep you guys occupied.
Yeah, there's been times. So last year, a lot of my kids, I actually have a video of it, and I'm planning to show it. We have an event called Curriculum Night for the parents for us to explain how we're teaching, things like that. And so anyway, I have a video where one of the kids that I had from last year, I just simply wrote a Spanish phrasing up on the board, and she was able to directly translate what was on the board because I was using the vocabulary that I had already taught them.
Uh-huh.
And so if you teach the kids the verbs of Spanish, they can pick up the vocabulary because a number of them are cognates, or basically similarities in between the languages. And so
Mm-hmm.
you have, if you teach them how the verbs operate, if you teach them how the verbs work, then the vocabulary itself will just be put into the sentence, and you can get about 90% of the sentence most of the time, and then the rest are
Yeah.
just simple details that you'll pick up as you go. And so
Right.
so yeah, the girl was able to do that, and I was wanting to demonstrate to, the kids and the student, this is not difficult, you guys. It's not difficult. It's the simple fact that people don't know how to teach you it. They
Yeah.
they themselves are not good at what they're doing. And so it's not to insult them. They could probably be an amazing person. It's just that you don't know how to read or interpret what the kid is doing. I even told a kid yesterday, you demonstrate a lot of tells. And I was like, do you know what those are? And they were like, what do you mean? And I said, tendencies, your tells, things that you immediately do when you are wanting to communicate something but not tell me what that is. You have tells. And so anyway, I just explained, anytime that you are not wanting to explain something to me, you will immediately do this specific action. And so with that, when you learn the kids and you learn how they think, then it becomes a heck of a lot easier just to explain the things. If you relate to them, we had a number of kids loved the books, the Hunger Games. They
Mm-hmm.
would always come in telling me where they were on those pages. We're not even talking about literature, but it's things that you bought. We had a number of kids that were doing Pokemon Go, and they were wanting to trade Pokemon with me. And so again, things that you are able to do to communicate with the students, and after a minute, they will be receptive with what you're wanting to communicate. So
Oh, I totally get that. It's like I've talked to my boss about this, where we have people in our company that are really good at training or explaining how to do a process, and then we have some that are just totally suck at it. And it's like one company I worked, not this company that I'm at now, although I'm good at this one too. The last company I worked for, I was often training our new people on our, like, how do you do the phones and the phone systems and all that stuff, because I was a CSR for a background screening company. And so anytime we had new hires, they would actually shadow with a couple of different people and see how to do things. Well, every single person that sat with me said, I love the way you explain things. You're not just clicking here, clicking here, clicking here. I'm actually telling them, we're going here and clicking on this because of this. And then this will allow you to do X. And when we're doing this, we're going to then do this thing. So I was actually explaining why I was clicking on something, not just, okay, click here, then you're going to click here, then you're going to click here. Because it didn't tell them the why. And everyone else was just rushing through, click, 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 click. And I'm like, yeah, make sure that when you go here and you're clicking on this, it's because you're doing this. If you don't see this, then you're in the wrong spot. You need to go to here and click on this, and all this. And I had written out instructions, literally every single step, including go here, hit enter, go here, hit enter, because I gave the instructions to a manager who got stuck on the first instruction going, okay, I did this and now I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, you hit enter. He goes, but the instructions don't say enter. I'm like, okay. So I actually update all of my notes to say, go here, enter, go here, do this, enter, put this in, enter. Because it's like, are you really that stupid? But that's just the way they learned. If they didn't have it right in front of them, do this actual instruction, they were lost. And my instructions ended up being the SOP across the board because they were so detailed.
right. Oh my gosh, yeah. I had gone to substitute for an elementary school one day, and oh my goodness, the lady that gave me the instructions for her class were down to the minute and relating to specific individual students that needed extra attention on things. And so it's amazing those small things which again, it's small minor details that you're able to keep in your head to explain, well, when I was learning this, this is the question that I had in my head, so I need to do that for this student so that their question is not about that anymore,
Yeah,
And so,
exactly.
yeah,
It's like,
I totally agree.
and then Dave Workin says, I remember, I'm probably going to butcher this, fuchi petos, stinky farts, and siéntate, sit down.
Siéntate. Yeah, one of the kids actually requested today. They said, "Can you speak to us in Spanish like you did last year?" And I said, "Well, last year I said it gave you guys headaches, and I told you it would give you guys headaches." And they said, "Yeah, but we understand so much more now." And I think they were like, "I think it's going to be a lot better." And so last year, what I had done is I said, "Okay, here comes the month of November. I'm going to teach you by speaking Spanish to you only." And so when they came in, and I'm telling you, they dreaded those days. And so I would speak to them in Spanish. I would go as slow as possible, but I would also get frustrated because they weren't paying attention to words they should have known. And so I took a step outside of the class and I go, "Guys," and this was in English, and they're like, "English again." And I said, "I told y'all that your brain is going to start having headaches because you're having to use a muscle which you have not used before." I was like, you're having to now interpret and think, what does that word mean? And
Yeah.
I said, you're going to have headaches. And this is what I had. You would get headaches. Your jaw line actually hurts because you're using different phonics and different sounds with how you say something. And so, yeah, when you first begin, your mouth hurts. You're like, you're like, why is this? It feels like I've been working out with my entire mouth, And so those type things happen. And like, what is the gentleman's name? Geek with Flags.
Oh, Geek Flag with Nate knows?
Yeah.
Nate. Yeah. So I should have just kept reading. This is my
Yeah.
problem.
Oh, is this what you're saying?
Were you not
Sounds like
reading?
you got a good bunch of kids who wants to learn.
Yeah, I mean, you do, but then again, you have
I
some
think the
kids.
teacher also inspires kids to want to learn.
Exactly.
Well, that's the whole
Speak
point.
to them in Martian. It's closer to the reading level, even though Spanish is spoken at home. Both
The
parents are
kids-
working and no time with kids.
The kids read my tales as well. Today, I immediately looked at my watch while I was teaching, and so one of the students goes, "Free time?" And so I was like, "You picked up on the tale, did you?" And so I was just like, "How much more time do the kids have for class?" But I keep pace with the time because I know I can talk on tangents like I am now, and so they love when I tell them stories. Um, and again, this is through conversation. When I'm speaking, Troy immediately thinks of something or it sparks in his mind. And so what I told the kids today is I said, "Guys, I am telling you right now," and I said, "Who are the top 5 smartest kids in this class? You guys can name them. Who are the top 5 smartest?" I said, "Who do y'all think had the highest average in Spanish last year?" They named 5. And I said, "A detail that you said with every single one of those kids, I didn't name them, you named them. All of them have their notebook out and they are writing down the notes that I have on the board."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and they have the highest average. I said, it has nothing to do with whether you know this information or not. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the fact that if you write it down, then your brain will immediately tell you all of the details that were happening in the class that day. And then I told them the story of Indiana Jones today. I was like, I can tell you right now where the television was in my house. I can tell you where the seats were. I can tell you where my mom was when she revealed she was walking through the kitchen. I was in the basically rec room where the TV was and everything. And she pulled out the VHS of Indiana Jones with her left hand and handed it to me because she had gone to get it at McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just like, your brain can remember those things if you write it down. Just write it down, and your head's going to say, "Hey, yeah, you remember that you were talking with so and so about whatever comes." It's going to spark everything, and so
Exactly. And Sasha says, I find it easier to pick up a language by thinking in that language.
Hey,
Well, and you're
I'm
forced to do
practicing.
that if you are immersed in it. If you are in a class and you're only speaking Spanish, you have no choice but to think in Spanish. I had a Spanish teacher once who said,
Teachers are the best.
he said, you can, how did he say it? You have different ways of expressing that you know a language, but you know the language when you have a dream in that language.
Well, ahorita
Wow.
puedo hacer eso ahora. Mi hermano, um, mi hermano me dice que cuando yo llego aquí en Estados Unidos que yo tengo sueños en español. So what my brother did was when I would come home from a foreign country, my brother would tell me you were dreaming in Spanish.
Mhm.
And then when I go back to the South American countries, they would tell me I'm dreaming in English.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Okay, we need 2 more to hit that next milestone. Can I get 2 more, peeps?
It's okay if not. It's
I know
Oh, I
this
like
is
my
Netter's
milestones.
goal. This
Last-
is Netter's goal.
yeah,
It's my goal, right?
we got to 13, and I mean, I don't know where you stand on the luck or unluck of 13. So let's see if we can't get another couple.
I actually do like the number 13.
Italians,
8, honey.
Italians like 13.
Oh,
Just
Sweetie, it's
guys-
8.
You wear. I've seen a lot of Italian guys wearing 13 on a chain.
Baby.
That's a gang.
It's 8.
No, I'm just kidding.
Because we start off with 45, we're at 53.
Oh yeah, see, I need a good math teacher.
Yeah,
gotta
it's
convert.
8. I would love for it to be 13, but yes, if we can get 2 more, we could be at
Right.
You
10.
just call me Nate. Everybody does except my wife. She calls me Nathan. That's when you're in trouble, is when she calls you Nathan.
Yeah,
Nathan. Nathaniel.
that's actually why
Yeah.
my mom once said the reason she called me Troy was because you can't do anything with it. You can't lengthen it. You can't shorten it. It's just Troy.
Well,
T.
actually, someone in the chat calls you Troy.
Troy, yeah. I haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah.
I did have a buddy in high school. A guy sat behind me, made that observation. He said, "I think I'm going to call you Troyus." I'm like, I like that. He's like, "Yeah, it
Oh my God.
sounds regal."
The amount of names that I'm having to learn this year. I mean, some of them, it's like, guys, I was like, be patient with me. I was like, I will get some of your names on the first go. Others of your names, like, one of the parents got mad at me because I mispronounced the girl's name, and I was like, ma'am, I was like, I'm sorry. At the same time, I'm going through 2 different languages. Okay, so
Yeah.
like, when I read, I'm immediately reading in Spanish just because I'm accustomed to it, and then when I go back into English and say, well, does the English pronounce it like this? We have a young lady. Obviously, they mistyped her name, so when it shows up in the schedule, it's a mistype, and so I'm like, sweetie, I'm gonna have to remember. Eventually, I'll have it down where I don't even have to think. But this is our first week, guys. You gotta
Yeah.
be
Well,
patient.
here's a name
Give
for
me
you.
some grace for crying out loud.
My full name, although it got shortened, my full name when I was growing up, Nanette Ray de France.
Wow.
Yeah, it got shortened to just the last name just being La France when I was growing up, because I was French Canadian on my father's
I was
side.
about to say that sounds very French. The accent that you used.
Yeah. Well, my real first name is Nanette.
Mhm.
So now I'm Nanette Picelli. So I'm
Yeah,
French
exactly.
Italian.
That was a YouTube highlight for me when I went to a live stream that the Metatron was doing and dropped a super chat, and he goes, I'm not sure if you anglicize or not, but I'm Italian, so I'm going to pronounce it Pacelli. And I'm sitting there going, yes, that's exactly right. Yes, the Metatron pronounced my name correctly.
You now have to tell the story about numero uno.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit of Spanglish. So I was telling you about how you start to think in Spanish, right? And I was in a Star Trek club when I was in high school, and I was over at somebody's house.
Sweetie, you weren't in high school. We were married at the time.
Oh, that's right. I had just gotten out of high school. I was first year college.
You were 21.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you do tend to start thinking in Spanish. Well, it's been like 30 some years here. Give me a break. The temporal distance, it gets hard to keep perspective. Anyway, so I was over at the head of the club's house, and we were talking Star Trek. And he said something about, how someone will say something and you find it funny and you don't laugh about it right away. So he had said something about Engage #1. And then he went on to start saying something else. And in my head, I heard, I imagined a bad dub of Star Trek The Next Generation in Spanish. Engaje numero uno. And all of a sudden, I just burst out laughing. And it was this huge belly laugh with tears coming down my eyes. He's like, what is so funny? And I couldn't stop laughing enough to speak. So all I could say was, Engaje numero uno. And that was enough to get him laughing too. He didn't even understand what I was thinking. So Engaje numero uno just became this thing in the club that people would say, and I'd always chuckle. I always at least would chuckle at that.
Yep. It's like thinking in Spanish.
Well, recently, and I see what Sim was saying. I was responding to Sim here a second ago, but so we, when you have students come to our schools, some of them are not English dominant speakers whatsoever. And so this young lady comes to us, and so her parent is speaking with her, and you can determine, based on cultural actions, where they are most likely from. And so it's like, okay, well, this is an Eastern cultural family with the mannerisms, the things that they're demonstrating. So you just simply let that go, and you continue, okay. And the young lady is the sweetest student. And so we're there, and somebody later on, while the young lady has gone off, is discussing with me that the young lady is Spanish dominant. And I was like, it doesn't follow, but I'm going to take your word for it. It doesn't follow from what I've observed. That's fine. Obviously I can be wrong. So anyway, I start talking to the young lady in pure Spanish at the school, and she keeps nodding her head yes. She's nodding her head yes. And so then later on in the day, they tell me, they're like, she's from India.
Like, what is this guy saying?
And so it didn't matter for her. She was like, English, Spanish, they're all the same to me. I'm going, yeah.
I had I had a great uncle who he retired to Brazil. This was many, many years ago. Brazil was very different back then. And he when he first moved there, he didn't speak any Portuguese. So he got by with a combination of the little Portuguese he knew, English and Italian. And between the three, he would just hope that some of what he said got across, and over time he picked up more and more Portuguese.
Absolutely.
It's actually very close, but yeah, they got very unique ways of going Osh, Fosh, and so I was able to pick it up when I was Spanish dominant. We were part of a camp in Paraguay. In Paraguay, Argentina, and Brazil, they all connect to each other, and so we had a young lady that was a fairly good soccer player, and she was trying to promote a number of things in the Amazon that was in Brazil, and so listening to her, she was understandable the way in which she was speaking. And obviously each country, I mean, there are people who speak massively fast. We had a guy from the Dominican. Yeah, he speaks Spanish, but the speed at which he speaks it, I was just like, dude, I am doing poor in Spanish. I cannot understand it. No, so I asked the guy, I was like, is that normal that he's speaking that fast? And the guy actually looks at me, and he was out of Ecuador, and he goes, no, because it's actually very rude. I'll take your word for it, but I was like, dude, it was so difficult to pick up. But yeah, it's verbs. I was about to tell Sin, I was like, I'll see if I can find a channel that would be promotional for it.
Yeah.
But me doing it, obviously I could film myself in my class, and then people would be like, "Why are you filming yourself on YouTube with our school?" It's like,
Yeah, right.
You want me to take that down? Were we not allowed to do it? It's do the Joe Pesci from the what was his lawyer? My cousin Vinny.
Oh, my cousin
Oh,
Vinny,
yeah.
yeah.
You were serious about that?
Oh, you were serious about that?
You got done with a Brooklyn accent,
film?
though. You were serious about that.
Yeah,
I can't
exactly.
film. But no, my students with me in the class, we've had yeah, it's again, it just goes back to the teacher, whether you are communicating with passion, the enjoyment of something.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It's really not. I know that I keep saying that, but I took 3 years of French. I had an A out of high school in French. I don't remember French,
Yeah.
but
Bonjour, comment ça
Spanish.
va?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. How's it going? You know, I could say "je suis stupide." You know, like that would fly. But you know, I know the process of it. I just need to go back and look at it, and it's closely related with Spanish on the structure.
Yeah, I mean, I was fluent in French when I was a small child, because my father used to speak French to me all the time when I was like, 3, 4 years old. And then he stopped speaking French to me, so I kind of lost it. So I figured, oh, okay, I'll take it my first year of high school as my language, figuring, oh, it'll come back to me. No, I was so lost. And it didn't help that my teacher figured with the last name of La France, I should know the language. I didn't. She failed me. And Cinna's saying you should do movie reviews in Spanish.
Yeah, no, I'm about to watch. I'm about to tell Sin, yeah, I'm gonna have international people hate me now. I'm gonna go abroad with this hatred, you know. Yeah, I got a lot of friends. I'm actually going to film a couple of my friends. One's from Panama. She is with her husband in Panama. She's actually Argentine, and I say Argentine. I know a lot of people go Argentinian. I say Argentine. It's just my thing that I like to do. But I have a friend, a guy out of Argentina. He used to play for a pro soccer team. He was going up through the ranks like Messi had. But I'm going to interview him, let him talk about his country of Argentina. I'm going to interview my other friend. Her name is, oh gosh, her name just slipped from me. She actually learned English. She already knew Spanish. Learned English by watching the television show Friends in English and watching the translations.
Ah.
She would literally watch the subtitle on the bottom, and then she would go get her dictionary, and she would literally watch Friends and learn English, and she's great with it. So yeah, it's doing movie reviews and esto es horrible. Mira esto. Esto es horrible. It's a bunch of this is bad, this is ugly, this doesn't work, you know.
A Geek Fellow Grenade says, Enigma, I'll do you one better. I had a choice in high school to take French or Spanish. I chose Spanish because when would I ever use French? And I married a wonderful French woman.
Yeah, that's that. You know, I need to use that. I will never need this situation, and then you're hoping that situation passes. I will never need $1 million, guys. Never. I will never need over 10,000 subs. I won't. It's just worthless, you know.
Well, if we get 2 more, we'll hit that next milestone. So if any of you peeps have not yet subbed to our guest, the link is to a channel is pinned to the top of the chat. Can we get 2 more? Can you show the love? It's like, because I know y'all love me, so you want to show me the love, if nothing else, please. We're at 253. Can we get 2 more, please? Thank you.
Yeah, did somebody already? No, nobody watched my Deadpool. I have an unlisted Deadpool teaser to what was in the movie, but I can't show it because Troy's here, and Troy. But yeah, I showed. Like I said, it's ultimately me personally. There's a lot of awesome things about movies. There's a lot of awesome things about books. And when you become passionate about those stories, when you really want to engage with those stories, even as I was thinking on my workout back up here, I was like, what do they want me to talk about on this thing? And so I just simply was remembering there is an amazing thing about being a fan and having passion for
Yeah.
these things, but it's even better when you yourself are trying to take hold of what that communication is that you want to do and express it or share it or inspire others to do that. When you become the inspiration for others to become passionate about things, that's even better. And so
Yeah.
I
That's how
try and do
she.
that. Yeah. Oh, I'm
Oops.
sorry.
Sorry, I saw she said there's a video going around of a Japanese VTuber learning English through GTA 5. It didn't go well, but it was hilarious. I wonder if that's the same person that kept saying, I love you, long time.
I
No,
love you.
no, it's probably what is that? What is that
That's right.
phrase?
Oh,
that,
Niga.
yeah, it doesn't mean the same thing in their language that it
Yeah.
does in ours.
Niga means you in
Oh,
Korean.
Sin. How
So,
could you?
so she kept going through this one that we were watching. She just
But
trying to
you
get
were.
somebody to get out of her way while she was driving. She just kept going, Nika, Nika, Nika. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that means something else in our language.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a slur, but in Korean, it means you. So
Yep.
she was basically saying, you, like, get out of my way.
We just to help with Sin's idea on preferring Mexico. So we have a woman at my job, and so I'm a guy. I don't really care too much about decorating. Like they were sincere with me too when we started this school year. They were like, "Your room was pitiful." They were like, "You have jerseys hung up in your room," and I do. I have soccer jerseys hung up in my room because I love obviously I love soccer, and so she goes, "It was pitiful," and so she goes, "Look, I'll bring you a Mexican flag. We will have all of these little things. I'm going to decorate this entire area over here for you." I was like, "Not the Mexican flag." And so my descendants are out of Spain, and so obviously she is married with a guy that is born and raised in Mexico, but obviously is American now, and so her entire family, holds Mexico influence, and so it's always fun for us to go back and forth at each other of not Mexico, yes Mexico. And she goes, "Why don't you like Mexico?" And I go, "I don't know all of Mexico, but from the cartels, I'm not a fan." So, but yeah, it's a good country. It genuinely is. There are a lot of amazing friends that I have from there that I made when I was in Argentina. A number of them are just really fun people. So yeah, they are very passionate, just as much. They have a beautiful culture, and again, my brother has gone through Mexico. I've mainly been around all of South America. I've tried to get to Mexico, but at the same time, it just for some reason or another, something doesn't work out for me to be able to hit over there. So I saw a video of some idiots. I love it how it starts. Some idiots. These people. I used the word, and of course they thought he was saying that. Oh my gosh! Of course, we've had those too. We've had people misinterpret. One of the kids thought I was calling their name when I was explaining a Spanish word, which was a fun giggle.
Yeah, that can be interesting. There are so many times where somebody will say something, I could swear they're saying my name, just because of the way they're like stringing two words together. So I can't give an example at the moment, but my real first name is Nanette, and I'll hear like the "et" part and go, "Who's calling me?"
Yeah.
But they're saying something completely different, nothing to do with me, and it's like, oh, never mind. So well, we have gone way over what we normally do. Normally, the show lasts about an
I
hour.
am sorry.
We've been on.
No,
No. It's
that-
great when you have guests like this that we can just well, we can go
it's a
over
sign of
and
a
do this,
successful stream when we go
Yeah.
over
Yeah,
the
I can
hour.
go.
Exactly.
If
So-
y'all don't stop me, I'll go.
Well,
Yeah, there you go. See,
Yeah, see, now this means I have to have you on again.
wind
so
you
we
up
can
and
talk
get you
more.
started.
Yeah.
It would be my pleasure. I could again, like I can tell you about my travels. I'm telling you, I like Troy there. I can, as soon as you say something, it'll spark my mind, and then I'll go off on something. And so,
Yeah, it's like, I mean, this is the type of guest I like, where we can just talk and the time flies by because we're so engaged. And of course, I have such an amazing chat. We are at 253. I'm sure there's at least 2 out there that are
I was going to
sub-chat.
say,
Keep in mind that subs are free. They don't cost you anything. It's simply a click on someone's channel, but it's so encouraging. It's an encouraging click. So can we have an encouraging click on our guest channel? We just need
I was
2
going
more.
to tell Sin though. I agree with Sin on the Spanish language though. With Spain, they have this lisp, and the lisp is horribly annoying when when they do that. Again, I don't care for the dialect. Again, I'm accustomed to the Argentinian or the Argentine dialect. They use a very sh. It's very che. It's very sh. It's very brusque. It's very fast. Che vo, ¿qué está haciendo vo? And it's very direct. Great people. Again, the cultures are amazing. The steak. Oh my gosh. Like, you love the food there.
No, I love food in general, so.
Yeah, the
Right.
cultures are amazing. And when I came back, so I was weighing around 240 pounds when I first went to Argentina, and this is out of high school. So I was massive. And again, this had nothing. It had everything to do with the fact that I was not diagnosed with a number of deficiencies that I was having. And of course, what do I care? Because I'm 18 and it's fine. Well, I go down for 3 months. The food down there is so much more healthier, and I went running and I would do so many different things. I ended up coming back and I weighed, I want to say, around 185, 190 within a span of 3 months because of just the fact that you have to walk, the fact that I would dedicate to running, so many different things. So yeah. What is it? They also add almost snotty sounds to all their other words. The arrogance comes out of Argentina. Argentina is heavily influenced with Italy. You get Chile, that sounds like they're whining. Chile sounds like they're really whining, like "¿Por qué? ¿Qué estás haciendo tú?" It's like, would you stop whining, please? Peru sounds the most pure, I think, and a lot of people would say it sounds like they're singing. I think that's what they're trying to explain, is that it sounds purified, so to speak. Guatemala has a very street sounding type stuff. A buddy of mine from El Salvador, he actually moved to France because he married a young lady from France. So that's my claim with that story. He actually she moved with him to El Salvador. They lived there for a number of years, and then they ended up wanting to plant churches in France, and so now he lives in France. So he's trilingual now. Really good buddy. There's an Italian. Yeah, it's Argentina has a massive Italian influence. So if you look at the architecture, you look at how things are set up, their clothing, like you cannot find bigger clothes down there. It's like every single one of them is like a beanpole skinny type jeans and stuff. It's like, good Lord, man. This is me weighing 185 and I couldn't find clothes for myself because it was just like the sizes. But yeah, it's heavily influenced in that nature. Was on a time. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, misread that. My bad.
What do you think it said?
Yeah, I'm a bad reader. Like I said, I'll go into the math class and tell them 2 + 2 is 5, and all the kids said that today, and it was hilarious because my co-teacher or my coworker friend, she looked at me and was like, "I'm done with you. Like, you leave now." because I will. She knows I'll come in and I'll distract them because they do. As soon as I walk in, they'll all greet me like, "Hey!" like
Hola.
outside of my class, I'm fun. Inside of my class, I'll legitimately tell them, guys, if you will let me get through this lesson, I will give you the free time. I was
Yeah.
like, do y'all have teachers that add on work when you have free time? They're like, yeah. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. I
No.
was like, if you have extra work, I have extra work, and I don't want extra work. So I was like, let me get through the lesson, and you guys can have the free time when we're done with the lesson. They're like, y'all are good? And they're like, yeah. And so all of them will participate, and I'll be like, all right, y'all got 10 minutes left. Y'all enjoy yourselves. And they're like, can we get on our phones? No. Can we listen to music? Yes. It's like, you can't get on your phones. But other than that, they're really good kids. They really are.
You know, it's a matter of respect. I think. You know, I think kids respect you if you respect them, and you know, in so doing, you're teaching them how to interact with people. You know, it's good for them.
For Matt Cheatwood's question on whether Argentina founded by civil wars, I'm not sure on that. I do know that there is a town that we did go to that was created by the ex-soldiers of a specific regime that tried to take over the world back in World
Yeah.
War.
Yeah. That's right.
There is a German colony that we went to, and it is almost in the middle of nowhere. But yeah, we went to that city. It's like a tourist attraction. They don't publicize things like that, but they do tell you that it is a German colony, and so it is very true about that.
Because then later on, I put my bad. It was Brazil, so I'm
Oh.
presuming that has something to do with that same one. Okay, well, we have gone almost 2 hours.
That's
So,
really cool, man.
wow, this has been great. Like I said, I've got to get you back on
Yeah,
again
yeah.
in a couple of months.
When you want, you're fine. I have nothing to do. No, I do have school. No, I'm just kidding. I do have school.
Yeah, we've actually gotten a few extra people coming in because they're used to our other streams lasting about 2 hours, so they came in after the hour mark because they were doing something else. So I'm seeing people coming in that normally would have to watch this on the rewind, and it's so great to see them here. But because we are approaching the 2 hour mark, I would think we should wrap up. I'm still looking for those last 2 people to sub to our special guest here. That link is pinned to the top of the chat.
Promise you guys, I will go back and look at the chat from all of the things that you've shared. I promise I'll address them.
Yeah, and remember,
I feel so bad if I ignore something, and then it's like they feel like they're talking to air, you know.
That is, really, that's what the comments below are for. You guys, come on back and keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
There's no reason that you can't. And, same for you, Enigma. You just, you see something and you want to respond to it, drop the comment below, and hopefully they come back and see what you said.
Exactly.
I'll add that. I'll be like, hey, by the way, this was in the chat.
Meow. Well, actually,
Hey, Moira, good to see you.
Miss Moira. I felt so bad the first time I had met her. She had done her meow to me and everything, and so I barked at her and I did work. I thought it was funny, she was like, "What, are you rude?" I was just, I didn't realize. I'm sorry, and so yeah, it was. Curtis had to tell her, "No, he's okay. He's nice."
I mean, that's like a Romulan coming into the stream and saying "Jolan true" and a Klingon responding "Kapla." Now we got problems.
Knock neck.
Do you guys ever watch The Big Bang Theory? That's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah,
We've got the first couple seasons on DVD. Yeah.
My dad loved that show. And again, I always reference my dad because I'm telling you, we would go back and forth on whatever show or thing we watched. I tried to get him hooked on The Office. He would laugh so hard it would hurt his stomach. But he had other shows he was trying to get involved with. We got him hooked on Logan Lucky. But anyway, let's go back to the Big Bang. Big Bang Theory. There was an episode where Penny and one of her friends are talking in this language, Pig Latin type language, and then you have Sheldon and Leonard talking in Klingon, trying to figure
Right.
out what the girls are talking about. So just the entire exchange was really good. But yeah,
Yeah, it's like my Klingon is limited, but Troy can actually converse in Klingon.
Yeah, to a limited degree.
Yeah.
You were talking about immersion in language. Once a year, the Klingon Language Institute hosts the big meeting, and people trying to learn the language go, and there's classes for beginners, intermediates, and stuff. And there are people there who pledge to spend the entire weekend speaking only in Klingon.
Which must be really confusing for the hotel personnel because they don't speak it at all.
Well, no, somebody usually accompanies them to be a translator for the normies, or to help the newer Klingon speakers. You know how you would in a language class where you kind of repeat it, do a little pantomime, kind of. Oh, you get it now? Okay, yeah.
Okay. Sin asked if you're going to Dragon Con, and you said, I will go if you're needing some support.
Yeah.
But it's not on my list.
We've been wanting to go to Dragon Con for 30 years. Haven't gotten around to it yet.
I'll be honest. I love, even one of our friends was saying there's no state like Georgia with some of the quality things that we do have. However, one of the things is a lot of times people who are raised here, I guess I was born in Texas, but people who are raised here usually have not gone inside of the 285 loop if it's not necessary. I'm not saying we don't want to, but it's just like we can avoid it if it's necessary. But yeah, I mean, going to Dragon Con, I'd be happy to go if there's a specific event or activity that would be fun to partake in, but I don't have my screen mask would not fit with it. Yeah, I don't have any cosplay, and I know Sin had said before, yeah, we don't do that, or we haven't done that in a minute, but yeah, I mean, I could definitely go down and visit. That'd be fun. Take you to Waffle House. Take the whole family. Host you guys at Waffle House. Yeah,
I don't think I've ever been to Waffle House. I've heard so much about it, and I've never been.
It's good. It's gotten expensive now. It's gotten a little bit, so you better be dedicated on that one. But the big thing I think I really loved about it, I was actually in North Carolina, living in North Carolina. I lived in Wake Forest, the city, not the college, the city. Loved the free refills on coffee. Definitely love that. And so we would order the All-Star breakfast. And it's basically almost everything you can get. Then you'd basically sit there all day, do homework, hang out with friends, and drink coffee. And of course, the people would be like, all right, we're changing shifts. Can you let us have your pay now so we can leave? But, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go. This is one of my favorite mugs.
England.
It's Shakespeare, yeah.
I can't read what's underneath that.
Oh, it's
wait,
William
hold on.
Shakespeare. I'm sorry.
Hold on.
Starbucks coffee. Oh, gotcha.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, I collect I collect some rare ones or places that I've been to. Yeah, that's let's just make it massive.
Okay.
And then this is actually out of Argentina. Get a mate cup.
Nice.
It's just open tea leaves, and then they give you a special straw that you can actually get all of the drink out of. Yeah, this one looks like it's beaten a little bit, but
That's kind of neat looking.
yeah. So you bring these, and again, you can get these offline. Of course, I haven't used these. These are now decoration. We're not going to be drinking out of this. This is. Yeah, I'm sorry. I keep going.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, Sin. I was in Wake Forest. So yeah, I'm familiar with Raleigh, I-40. Obviously, you go across the state with that. Take 85, or you can take I want to say it's 95, 85 or 95, one of those two, depending on if you like traffic or not.
Well, it could go either way.
Yeah, you do. You check the apps, and then once you get down there, you're like, that is not what this said. It said it was clear. Then you get frustrated, and you're like, I have to sit here now. You start looking for another route. This is not working.
Oh, sometimes GPS is really off the rails.
Yeah.
When I tell people to get to my house, I have to tell them a different location to put in so they can find me. Because according to most GPSs, our house is a half a block further down the street and across the street from where we are. So I give them a landmark that's really close to them and said, you're going to put in the address for this landmark. And we're like just a little bit down further the road from that. And they find us easily that way. Because otherwise they're like, I'm here where it says it's your address. I'm like, are you looking at an old folks home? And they're like, yeah, you want to turn around, come back a half block.
Yeah, they love the people in North Carolina. You know, to be honest, I love the weather. Every now and then it would snow and it would become a massive problem, but that was kind of part of the fun too. It was like, hey, I don't have to go to work today. Unless you work from home. But no, I was working at Chili's for a good while. I ended up becoming a soccer trainer for a number of people, and that's what paid my master's degree. So,
Wow.
so yeah, soccer training, Spanish. I was doing Spanish tutoring as well from time to time. Yeah, it's just fun.
Okay. Well, I think we should start wrapping up and save
Yes.
something for next time.
Please, I'll keep going.
so,
I'm sorry.
Do you have anything coming up that you want to let our chat know about?
I am trying to make a really good Deadpool Wolverine video. It's a lot longer than what I'm used to making, so it's taken a little bit longer, plus the kids. So when I'm teaching, I can't sit there and video edit and be like, y'all just do this. So
True.
but yeah, that video. And if you would like, a couple people are wanting me to do a couple reviews. If you would like me to do a review on a movie or something, or have my opinion, which I would be honored that you actually want to know what my opinion would be. But anyway, if you have one of those, please make mention of it, and I'll just probably go and watch the movie and then do an in-depth thing and become obsessed with it at some
Okay.
point. So, yeah.
Anything else you got upcoming?
That would be it for the moment.
Okay. Troy, any final words?
No, I just want to thank everybody for being so accommodating and engaging, and all of y'all who subscribed to our guest tonight. He definitely deserves to be followed. We wouldn't have him on here if we didn't enjoy his channel, and therefore we think you will too.
Yeah,
So
he is seriously under subs. This is why I was pushing for trying to get some of those milestones. It looks like we've gotten 8 subs. Yeah, 8 subs right now.
That's awesome. You guys are awesome.
But I also know that some of you, some people will be watching this on the rewind, and they will sub at that time as well. But thank you all so much for being here, and of course, y'all know what I always say.
Yep.
We can talk amongst ourselves, and that's all well, good, and fun. But it's so much more fun when you guys are joining us in the chat, and you're dropping your comments, questions, trivia, being goofy, whatever it may be. And it doesn't feel like we're separated by miles or continents in some cases. Hi, Sashi.
Yeah.
It feels like we're all hanging out in the same room. We're enjoying each other's company and having a great time. And we really did. I mean, we went 2 hours for this one, and normally we're about an hour. So we're definitely having a great time. So thank you all for being here. You guys are not just our friends. You are our family. We love you guys, and we appreciate you so very much. I mean, you could be anywhere, and you're here. And that's so encouraging. You guys are Osmo. I'm always encouraged to see you guys in the chats, in our various chats, on our various streams. And I mentioned on the last stream that I was on that every time I see you guys come in, it makes me smile because I'm seeing my family. So I love seeing you guys here. I really super appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for being a part of our family. And until next time.